Imagine a game that looks like a painting, plays like a Souls-like, and already has people calling it a future game of the year, even though it's still in early access. That game is no rest for the wicked. But here's the interesting part. Players aren't just praising it, some are frustrated, some are addicted, and some say it has the potential to become one of the best action RPGs of this generation. So what is really going on with this game? Let's break it down. First, a little context. This is the new project from Moon Studios, the team behind Ori and the Blind Forest, a studio famous for stunning art direction and emotional world building. And once again, they absolutely delivered on visuals. Many players say the very first thing that hits you is the art style, hand-painted environments, beautiful lighting, weather effects, layered level design. Some reviewers even described the game as one of the most visually impressive titles in the 2.5D space. Not good looking, not nice, jaw-dropping, the kind of world you don't just play, you stare at, but visuals alone don't make a great game. So let's talk gameplay. At its core, No Rest for the Wicked blends several genres together: Souls-like combat, top-down action, deep exploration, loot-driven progression, even housing mechanics. And surprisingly, for many players it works. Exploration in particular is getting massive praise. People compare the feeling of discovering new paths to the first time they explored worlds in games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring. That sense of curiosity that what's around the corner, energy that's very hard to create, and apparently this game nails it. One player even said they spent over 60 hours just exploring maps. That's not normal, that's obsession-level engagement. Combat is another major strength. Every weapon has its own animations, its own weight, its own feel, which is rare because many RPGs reuse systems across weapons. Here, players say the feedback is extremely satisfying, meaning when you hit something, you feel it, and that matters more than most developers realize. Now before this starts sounding like a perfect game, let's slow down, because No Rest for the Wicked definitely has problems. Remember, this is early access, and some of those issues are impossible to ignore. One of the biggest complaints, inventory management. Players say the game throws mountains of loot at you, but gives you a tiny backpack. So instead of enjoying the world, you spend way too much time sorting items, organizing gear, managing storage, and when a system pulls you out of immersion like that, players notice immediately. Another frustration comes from certain progression systems. Some reviewers feel the random loot design can actually weaken the importance of map exploration, because if rewards feel unpredictable, discovery loses some of its magic, and in a game built around exploration, that's a risky design choice. Let's talk difficulty. Because yes, this is not an easy game. Some players love that, others not so much. There are reports of aggressive enemies, punishing boss fights, and mechanics that feel extremely unforgiving. One reviewer even said they pushed through nearly 40 hours out of pure determination before finally hitting a wall. But interestingly, even many frustrated players admit something important. The foundation of the game is excellent, which changes the conversation completely. We're not looking at a broken game, we're looking at a demanding one. There are also some smaller but important technical complaints. For example, keyboard and mouse remapping issues, crafting timers that happen in real time, systems that feel slightly restrictive. None of these are catastrophic, but together they remind you, this is still a work in progress. Now here's where things get very interesting. Despite all the criticism, many players strongly recommend buying it anyway. Why? Because they believe the game is clearly moving in the right direction. Developers are listening to feedback, updates are coming, and the core experience is already strong. Some players are even predicting that once version 1.0 releases, this could be a serious Game of the Year contender. That is a big statement for an early access title. Co-op is another area getting attention. 4-player sessions can apparently become chaotic with explosions and effects everywhere. But 2-player co-op, that seems to be the sweet spot. Still intense, still tactical, but far more readable, which is exactly what you want in a game that demands precision. So what's the real verdict right now? Honestly, No Rest for the Wicked feels like one of those rare games with massive long-term potential, not perfect, not fully polished, but built on an incredibly strong foundation, the kind of game that could evolve into something truly special if the developers keep refining it. Here's my take based on everything players are saying. If you hate unfinished games, wait. If you want a perfectly balanced experience, wait. But if you enjoy watching a great game grow and being part of that journey, this might already be worth your time. Because games with this level of artistic vision don't show up very often. So the real question is, are we looking at the next evolution of action RPGs or just an ambitious early access experiment? Tell me what you think in the comments. Would you jump in now or wait for the full release? And if you enjoy deep gaming breakdowns like this, subscribe, because some very interesting games are coming and you don't want to miss them.